This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers, and today my first guest is Judy Kalmanak, representing the River Center here in Alpena. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
Good.
Good, and me too.
I was going to say it. How are you?
I'm just fine, just fine.
Thank you for joining today. Really a lot of exciting projects are happening around the community for, over the past 3, 4, 5 years. It's really amazing to see the corridor on Long Rapids Road and other areas building, progressing, and bringing more resources to our community. And one of the top projects that's going on has been the River Center.
The River Center.
Would you like to just talk a little bit about where you're at with that and what phase? And
I would be delighted to. The River Center, of course, makes my heart beat. It's a very old project, as everybody in this community knows. It was here long before I was. It was the dream of the original members of the Alpena Wildlife Sanctuary Committee before it was a board. And this goes back into the 1980s when Vernie Nethercutt obtained the funding from the DNR to obtain Island Park.
Wow.
And that was in 1983. And that first group of people said, what we would like to have is an interpretive center of our river.
Yeah.
And so it's been going on all that time. It's had a lot of good starts and some slowdowns. And we really began in earnest with it very seriously in 2014 when Jeff Gray over at NOAA gave us space to put together an exhibit. And we put that exhibit together over there. And people have been very supportive and interested ever since. We have the support, written support, of all the 5 county boards of commissioners within the wildlife sanctuary.
Wow.
And that's pretty impressive. And the first time we went out for a grant, a small grant, we got letters from 23 businesses in Alpena alone. And so I know that the support is out there and people are excited. So now, listen up, it's going to happen. The project was very, very expensive, and too expensive for our community to really raise $4 million all at one gasp, even quite some time ago. So we have divided the project down into 3 phases, and I'm happy to tell you, Brad, that phase 1 is off the ground and it's going to be happening. Aww. Let's hear a cheer for that.
That's great.
So phase 1 is the pavilion and restrooms, which will be at Duck Park on the site. And the site of the River Center, which I get asked frequently, is between the condos, the gray condos on Long Rapids Road, and the entryway, the driveway going into Duck Park. And so that field will be where the River Center is going to be located. The phase 1 will do what Alice and Melissa asked me a long time ago. They says, all we need, because right now it's pouring down rain and we've got 60 kids out here, we've got all these exhibits set up, we got to get this torn down, we got to move these kids over to the museum, and we need bathrooms. These are little kids, we need bathrooms. So that's what we're going to have in phase 1. The pavilion itself is going to be quite nice, and everything we're doing over at the River Center from the beginning all the way through till the last time is making sure everything else is ADA, handicapped accessible. And I have letters of support from I think she's the regional director of the ADA. She happened to go through Duck Park, and when she got the request letter from us, she said, she says, this is a wonderful place, and I'm sure this will really make it accessible for everybody. And so we have support letters from the hospital, of course, and from the nursing home across the street, Meadow Lodge, and from Pied Piper School. So all these people are feeling the impact of what this is going to do for their clients, for their patients, for all of these. And so the ADA accessible, let's get back on track here. The pavilion is going to be like, there'll be 12-foot openings on all 4 sides to make it handicapped accessible for people in wheelchairs, and everything around it will be handicapped accessible. There will be, the benches will be able to, people will be able to ride up to them on a wheelchair. And we plan to have a gently sloping area that goes down to the parking lot. We're adding 2 more handicapped accessible parking spaces over there, because there's a lot of people in my age group who need that.
Well, not even just your age group, too. I mean,
Right.
just a lot of people need that accessibility as well. And you want to have as much of an inclusion, you know, inclusivity as you possibly
we
can with the project.
So we have removed the bathrooms out of the what would be phase 2, phase 3, and put them out with the pavilion. And so those will be ADA, handicapped accessible, with changing tables in them for mothers or fathers to change little babies. And so we're pretty excited about it. We have contracted with USDA Rural Development.
Cool.
For, we've got $19,600, and our cost to UP engineers and architects will be $27,000 to finish up the blueprints and get it ready to go. And word has it that they're almost finished.
Good. You get that stamp of approval soon.
Soon. And then we'll be able to put it out for bids. The city will bid it. And we hope, if we can't start it this fall, I don't know if we can. It's got to go through the bidding process. If not, it will be next spring. And so by next year, the end of next year, we will have the pavilion and the restrooms. Phase 1 will be finished, a fait accompli. The cost is around $300,000. We got a grant from the DNR, Land and Water. I'm here to tell you that's quite a
process.
quite a process, quite a process, because that comes through the Federal Parks Association. And so it was for $150,000, but because it's Land and Water, we have to match that money dollar for dollar. It's not in kind, anything like that. It's dollar for dollar. And we are getting pretty close. We've written an application to Youth and Recreation, and Chris Powley, who is our board secretary, and I gave a presentation to them last week, and they're pretty positive about it. They might not give us all we ask them for, but we're pretty sure that they will give us and be as generous as they have been in the past.
They're very supportive.
They're very supportive of this project.
Well, Judy, I can't thank you enough for all the work that you and the community members have made to make this all possible. You know, unfortunately, I know you and I could probably sit here and talk about this for hours.
Oh, we could.
Because it's a very impactful project for our community. But I really appreciate your time coming on the show and updating everybody that's watching today about all the wonderful things that are going on, the excitement around the phase 1 being completed.
Yes, and we take donations. If you give us $1, that's $1 we didn't have.
Excellent.
If you give us $1,000, that's a whole lot we didn't have. So whatever we can, you know, obtain in that way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Judy, and good luck. And of course, please reach out to me personally as well, because I love to support this project.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned after the break for Justin Christensen Cooper from the Art in the Loft. Welcome back, everyone. My next guest is Justin Christensen Cooper from Art in the Loft. Hey, Justin.
How you doing, Brad?
Good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So, you know, every time we come on, you always have a lot of really big things going on, a lot of programming,
Sure.
a lot of exciting things going on at the Art in the Loft. What does your summer programming look like right now?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, you tell me. I don't know. First and foremost, we have our mainstay, which Art in the Loft was built on, which was our community exhibits. So we are currently featuring 34 artists, all local or have ties to the area in our Summer View 2023. This opened up right before Memorial Day, and it goes throughout the summer. September 9th is when that goes through. So the cool thing about that, though, is we have regular set hours like any store or retail might have. But then while the artwork is up, we also we have our private events and our summer programming. So the loft is like full of artwork while people come in, partake in those things. And I think that's kind of a unique aspect of the space where if it is like a private event, I mean, we have weddings like crazy this summer. People get not only that unique atmosphere, but they're surrounded by all this local art, which is just kind of crazy to think about, where it's not just a hall or, you know, whatever the decoration is done for them. And then that goes in addition to our summer classes, our programming that we partner up with local organizations on. And so the gallery is just full of that. The nice thing about the number 34 and the number of artists that we've had is it's up tremendously from where we sat just after COVID. And so it's kind of crazy that we still even have to preface everything with that. But probably right out of that, we were looking in the, in like the low 20s, and now we're starting to build not only new artists, but having some of those artists come back. And so we have 6 new artists that we're featuring as well that are first-time artists in the gallery, and then we have a lot of the mainstays as well. So it's, it's every medium you can think of, photography, jewelry, pottery, painting, woodworking, I mean, and then names that people might not associate, like Matt Poley, for example. He is an artist up at the Loft this summer, which is so cool, and I don't think people associate that he does woodworking. And so I think when people come up and they see some of these new artists, and actually some of the old artists that have come back, they say, wow, this person has that kind of talent, and then here we're showcasing it. So that's kind of a really cool thing that's happening.
And we know personally that Matt Poley has a lot of talents.
This is true. This is true. Did I say he didn't? Maybe
no. You didn't insinuate it either. Just want to clarify. Yeah. But the artists that you have, the 34 artists, now is it a wide range of ages of people?
It is, yeah. So we have some artists that are actually still students that came out of our ACES program, and so they got to see artwork through coming to see the ACES Reach program, or when they were involved in ACES Reach, and they then wanted to showcase some of their work. And so we have like a little student section as well, and then all the way up to Jerry Mills. I hope he's watching this. And I'm going to give it away, but he's in his 90s and he shows up every week and he's active and he's just creating like every day. And so you get to come see his artwork. And it's just so the range, that's a great question. The range is incredible. So people really do get that taste of like, what does Alpena have to offer? And I think we showcase that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And speaking of Reach too, I just saw something that came out about the Reach graduation.
Yeah, that's right. So it was actually ACES.
ACES.
Yep, ACES, yep. But the whole connection there is through the Reach program. And so this actually happened last year when ACES was completing their first cycle of doing the Reach program. And for those that don't know, Reach is building life skills through the culinary and visual arts. And so we have a program with ACES Academy, Pied Piper, and the high school right now with high school special needs class. So ACES is a little bit different because when they do Reach through the Loft, they actually are earning a credit towards graduation, getting their ServSafe certification, so they're employable, and all those good things. So they've felt such a connection to the Loft space and really took it over as their own that last year we started the graduation for all their graduates. I think we had 12 that celebrated at the Loft, and then I think it was 13 or 14 this past year. This just happened last week, where the graduation was up in this space as well. We had about 120, 130 people up there to celebrate those graduates. Awesome. And it's just great, because they're not only in that beautiful space surrounded by local artwork. Some of their own students are on display, but they just have that pride and that ownership over that.
That's cool. You know, kind of going back a little bit to like some of your summer exhibits, and because I'm amazed at 34 people, that wide range of ages that are, doing so many different mediums and coming together and doing such awesome artwork in the community.
Right.
How do you get so many people involved? What are some of your processes that really, kind of bring people in?
That's a great question. I think it has to do a lot with our breadth of what we have to offer, I think someone does find a connection to whether it's a school program or a class they took or a wedding they attended or they stopped in. And the cool thing that I always love hearing is when someone's coming to visit or stay in town or visit a relative, they bring them up to the loft. And so there's a lot of that word of mouth too that happens to do that. Even with the cruise ships coming in, we try to get over there and pick it and say, hey, come up to the loft and see what local artists look like when they're visiting. Our board of directors has a lot to do with that because we do try to select a board of directors that really has a range and a reach, as you would know that, to bring in different voices, different people. But then it comes back to programming. Like how are we making a difference in the community? Yes, it's a cool space. You see the water every day, when I'm up there. You get to see these great artists. You can have a cool event up there, or maybe you've heard this band up there. But when it comes down to it, you strip that away, and how are we making a difference within the community? And I think that's through our programming. And so that's really where it gets to the heart of that.
Yeah, because it's the Art in the Loft is such a gem in our area.
I appreciate that.
And it's amazing to hear the things that you're doing, and you have such a passion, for bringing all of this together.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not just something you can just do overnight. It takes time to develop these things and these relationships, and and seeing people come forward to participate and to put themselves out there,
right?
And what they're doing.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
And it's a self-esteem boost, and so many just amazing things are happening.
Yep.
And you and your team are catalysts to a lot of that.
Well, I appreciate that. And, it's interesting. I'm really glad that you mentioned that confidence and that self-esteem and that self-efficacy is really important, because a lot of the time when we have these conversations with artists or students or someone taking a class or visiting the gallery, that story somehow always comes back to the fact that they found something positive through art. And so that's what we try to capture. It's like, well, what did you find positive in art? And how can we build on that? So whether it's a student with special needs coming from the high school where they made spaghetti for the first time or whatever, they found their own confidence through that experience. Or someone visiting from out of state and they took a class on a Saturday morning, and they have something to take away and they remember that trip because of what they created, so that's where we're really trying to find that story.
Yep, and I see it with little kids when the kids at the Boys and Girls Club that come up there.
That's exactly right.
Take something tangible and they're so proud of it.
But. Well, and I know we're going to run over, but I'm super excited to start our programming.
Well, we're super excited too.
Good. Yeah.
But brother, thank you for
appreciate it.
Providing such inspiration in our community for so many people of so many different ages, and I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of what you do.
Well, right back at you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned after the break for the ACC segment. Have a great day.
Good morning. I am Jay Walterwright, Director of Public Information and Marketing for Alpena Community College, and this is the ACC portion of Talk of the Town. With me is my friend and colleague, Mike Killeen, Director of Admissions. Welcome again, Mike.
Good to be here, Jay.
Oh, it's always great to do the show with you, Mike. You are a font of great information, and there's always a lot going on at the college that we want people to know about. So
we're trying to live up to it today.
All right, good. So it's June. Graduations are happening all over Northeast Michigan. And a lot of people ask me, are things really quiet at the college over the summer? And I say no, there are good things going on right now and preparation for the fall. So let's talk about that. Now, first of all, let's talk about our graduating high school students and what's going on with them.
Well, you're right. Over the last couple of weeks, a lot of our high schools have all had commencements, so those seniors are done, finally. That moment has come where they're out of high school. But now, what's next? And a lot of them may have plans. They're thinking of college. A lot of them have already possibly registered with us here at ACC. But there's always those students who, at their graduation party, their aunts, their uncles, their grandma, they'll go like, what are you doing next year? And it triggers them to go, oh my, I got to make a plan. And while ACC, you're right, over the summer, we're here. We're available. Come on in. We can get you started, talk to you about what the process is, what the steps are. It's easy. It's simple. No matter if you're in Rogers City, Posen, Onaway, Hillman, Atlanta, Alcona, or Alpena. We're sort of Alpena Community College, but we handle all of Northeast Michigan.
That's right. So We do have a summer semester going on right now. Some people may not know about that. It's a little different than fall and spring. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, our summer semester is a 12-week summer, but it's really sort of split up in various ways. There's like 2 6-week pods. Some classes are 8 weeks or 10 weeks. And so a lot of the courses have already started. They started back about the 3rd week of May.
Right.
But there are some classes that have still yet to begin. You know, there's some general education classes. So if you are a student out there who may be thinking, well, I'm out of school, maybe I'll take a class. You'll let us know, and we can let you know what's available. As there are some general education classes that you could get started, maybe knock one out. But keep in mind, it's a condensed format. That 6-week format, which means you got to work, because that 15 weeks of information is zoomed into 6 weeks. So, but it's a way to sort of knock out a class and maybe lighten your load for the fall. So a few opportunities. Can't really tell you what they all are because I don't have them all on the top of my head. But some opportunities. So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll see what works for you.
Yeah, I think the second 6 weeks starts July 3rd. People should verify that. Don't take my word for it.
Yeah.
But it's coming up soon, but there's still time for people to get involved if they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah, right on.
Yeah. And another thing that goes on during the summertime is registration for the fall. We're already talking about August and September. Can you believe it? So we have a couple of our early registration events that go on during the summer. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, you're right. You know, ACC about 4 or 5 years ago, we instituted a new student orientation process where we want the students to come in, and it's about a 45-minute to an hour presentation by me. I talk about services, policies, timelines, ultimately information that's going to help the student be successful after ACC for one class, a semester, a year, or an entire program. You know, it's the idea just to orientate them about terminology and things they need to know. So we have some of those next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, June 13th and 14th. We have face-to-face sessions. I still do a remote virtual session. And we also have a brand new online do-it-your-own-convenience orientation that you have to sign up for at our website. But once you come in and complete the orientation, we connect you with an academic advisor. That advisor is someone who you'll be able to sit down with, talk to about your class schedule based on your program of study, full-time, part-time, morning, noon, night, online, face-to-face, all these options for you really to be able to take classes. We try and make it as convenient for you based on your schedule. Maybe you got work or kids or family or other obligations. So that's what you want to do, is come in. So if you have any questions about the orientation, you can go to our website, scroll over the admissions tab, and then click on the orientation registration link. And there's a short form of about 5 or 6 questions to sign up for an orientation. Once again, Tuesday and Wednesday next week, and then we have a couple of days in July also. I think it's July 12th and 13th.
Right, I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to talk about that. There's something special going on with the July early registration date. Michigan Reconnect will have a representative there to meet with students who might be interested in Reconnect. There are some stipulations involved with Reconnect. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so Michigan Reconnect was a program a couple years ago by the state of Michigan. It sort of came about right after that Future for Frontliners program that had to do with a lot of COVID for the essential workers being able to get some education. Michigan Reconnect has some really simple criteria. You got to be 25 and older, lived in Michigan for at least a year, have a high school diploma or GED, and not have completed any type of associate's degree or above. So maybe you're a student who started college and it didn't work out for you, or you haven't gone to college, or non-traditional, we'll call you. There's some opportunities out there. Michigan Reconnect can help you pay for some money. There's some funding sources there. On top of your Pell Grant, they can help pay for some other things to really make it much more beneficial. So, as you mentioned, we're going to have a Michigan Reconnect representative at our July orientations, July 12th and 13th. I think they're going to be there on the 12th. But that doesn't mean you can't come next week, because you can always just come back on the 12th. We'll get you connected with them and stuff like that. I would say it's good to get registered as soon as possible. Class availability, stuff like that. But we don't really necessarily just want to focus on the 18, 19-year-olds coming out of high school, because college is for everybody. I mean, everyone's going to college for the same reason. it just might be at a different point of their life, and that totally makes sense. You want to get those employability skills to either market yourself to go out and find that employment or enhance your current employment. ACC's got all kinds of opportunities for you with over 70 programs of study.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mike. You are always a great font of information. It's always exciting to do the show with you. That's our time.
All right.
Thank you for joining Mike and me. I am Jay Walterite, Director of Public Information and Marketing for Alpena Community College, and this is Talk of the Town.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.